It's Iowa Prairie Girl here today. It's May 12th and it's Mother's Day 2019. Today we're going to talk about violets. Now hopefully you can see some of the violets in front of me here. I have purple and white violets in the ground here in front of me, but I have some other pictures so close up so you can get a better look at those violets later. Now why do I want to talk about violets today? Violets remind me of my mom, and violets wasn't a flower that I was going to have on my list to do videos on, but as I was thinking about my mom and Mother's Day and May, I thought it would be kind of appropriate to talk about violets today. So a little story about my mom and violets. I was probably about 10 years old, and we lived in Austin, Minnesota, and we lived on the last block in town, and behind our house there was a woods, and my mom loved to kind of keep a little clearing in that woods right behind her house. And one day she said, "Katie, let's go out and we're going to make a rock garden." And so we went out and we gathered some rocks, and we made a circle with these rocks. It was about 2 feet wide, and in that rock garden we put transferred wild violets from the woods. And for a good 10 years later, it was my job every year to keep that rock garden free of weeds. Now most people would think that violets are weeds, but it depends on your perspective. To me, violets are beautiful wildflowers. Now some of you might have been thinking, hey, wait a second, transferring wildflowers, that's against the law. And you're right. Leave No Trace says that it is against the law to transfer wildflowers, but we do need to think that when I was 10 years old, that was the 70s, and Leave No Trace wasn't around, and it was one of those things, now that you know better, you do better kind of things. So yeah, transferring wildflowers is not a good practice. The only time you would transfer a wildflower is if the wildflower was in danger of being destroyed, and then it would be all right to transfer that wildflower. But they were violets, and we transferred them, and every time I walk through the woods and I see a violet, I often think of that rock garden that I made with my mom. So today we're going to learn more about wildflowers. As you can see, I am not in the woods right now. I'm in my own backyard. I probably have my own fair share of violets. My yard's a little on the natural side. Do want to throw in that I was hoping, I had this vision of going back to my childhood rock garden and doing a video there in my rock garden that would now be 40 years old. And in all truthfulness, I actually did sneak back to my childhood home, snuck into the backyard, and was sad to see that my rock garden is completely gone and there wasn't even one violet left. And so had this great vision of doing my video there. But anyways, we're going to do it in my yard because I have a lot of violets and around my farm. So I hope you enjoy my video. We'll see. Let me get set up here and we're going to go find some more violets. So here I am in my front yard, and like I said, my yard is kind of a natural place. I'm in the shade here underneath some buckeyes, and if you listen closely, I heard some orioles singing above me. So I have this really neat patch here of common blue violets. Now violets come in all kinds of colors. There are actually, I don't think anybody actually really knows how many violets there are. I've read that there's between 400 to 500 different species of violets in the world. In the United States, there's somewhere between 60 to 70 different types of violets. This is the common blue violet. Actually, you know, if you want to learn about a wildflower and look like you know something when you're out on a walk with somebody and say, "Oh, there's a violet," you'd be pretty much safe to say, "Hey, there's a common blue violet." Common blue violets come in actually a lot of colors, different variety of purples, lavenders, blue. I've seen blue-white, really light blue. My neighbor across the road has a collection of purple and white flowers. So lots of different colors that they can come in. And then later we're going to walk down to the woods and I'll show you a yellow violet. So these are the common blues. They grow, like I said, almost anywhere in the world, a violet does. and they love more of the woods. They love the shady areas, a damp spot, but you can find them in a prairie. You'll find them in vacant lots. You can find them pretty much anywhere. They are very tolerant. I have a picture where I have a white violet that is coming up. My husband had put down a pile of rocks, of riverbed rocks, and the violet popped right up through there. So they're very resistant. Like I said, a lot of people consider them a weed, but look at it. There's a beautiful bed here of common blue wild violets. Going back to our Mother's Day theme, there's a couple other mothers that are mentioned in history that are associated with violets. One is the Mother Mary. Violets represent humility, and so often if you see a picture of the Virgin Mother Mary, you will see her with violets as well. So that's Mary is associated with violets. Another mother that goes along with the story on violets is in Greek mythology. If you Google violets in Greek mythology, there are all kinds of stories, but one that goes along with Mother's Day is Venus. Venus said to her son Cupid, there was a group of girls that she was looking at, and she said to Cupid, she said, am I lovelier or am I prettier than that group of girls? And Cupid, not being too smart, said, yeah, Mom, those girls are prettier than you. So Venus got mad, and she went to those girls and she beat them till they were blue and they turned into violets. So there's a story on Greek mythology and violets. There's also several other stories in Greek mythology where people were turned into violets. So that must have been a common thing. So those are the blue violets, and we're going to move on now to those yellow violets. Okay, so we're on the edge of the woods now, and we have some yellow violets here in front of us. I hope you can see them. Prairie dog's been kind of excited to get down here, so they've been trampled a little bit. But like I said, they're very resilient, so I know they'll come back. A little bit about violets. They have 5 petals, usually 2 on the top and 2 on the side, and then 1 towards the bottom. And the one on the bottom is actually a little bit bigger, and it's kind of like a landing pad for the insects that come and pollinate that flower. So that's kind of a cool fact. The leaf is heart-shaped on most of them. Most common violets have a heart-shaped leaf. There are some other different types of violets, a bird's foot and a prairie, that have a different leaf. But for the general, most violets have a heart-shaped leaf. They are full of vitamin C and vitamin A, and people eat them. They are very edible. The leaf and the flower are both edible. People eat them like on a salad, fresh, or you could cook the greens. A lot of times people will candy the flowers and use them as a candy, usually at a decoration, or put them on a cake. And then also people will pick the flowers and use them make a jelly out of them. About violets, that if you give them to a woman as a gift, they are a sign of good luck for her. So there you go. On Mother's Day, violets are good luck for women. Also, a thought about violets. There's a saying by Gertrude Weister, who said that the flowers of late winter and early spring occupy places in our hearts well out of proportion to their size. And I think that's very true about violets. They're small, they're easy to overlook. People think that they're weeds, but actually if you just take the time to enjoy the violets, I think you'll see that they will take up a place in your heart that are well bigger than their size. So one more story on Mother's Day about violets, and that would be my own personal story. Mother's Day to me often means a time that I take my son out and we look at the flowers and we enjoy the birds. And so I include some pictures here of my son Joe when he's 2 years old, when he was posing with some violets. It's a good memory for me on Mother's Day. So again, this is the Iowa Prairie Girl, wishing you a happy Mother's Day. Make sure that you share my videos, press that like button, and stay tuned in. Next week we're going to be under the Mayapple, and that'll be something fun to explore. And then the next flower after that, we're going to look at the wild geranium. So this is the wild, this is the Iowa Prairie Girl out in the wild, and we'll see you next time. And we'll see you next time.